Hey you guys, welcome back to the horror with your host Jenna. Welcome back. Sorry that I'm doing like another video. I know I did two videos yesterday, but once again I just felt kind of like a little motivated to do another video, so what the heck. So I kind of figured since yesterday I know one of my videos was talking about Black Christmas. Maybe I talk about another Christmas-themed horror movie, and I'm going to be talking about 1984's Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now you can see here that this is a two-pack. Have the original Silent Night, Deadly Night up here at the top, and then part two at the bottom here. Pretty much just going to be talking about the first one. Maybe I'll just mention the second one, maybe. I'm not sure, but it's mainly just gonna be the first one. Now I gotta say, now this one came out in 1984. One of those, horror classics. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Silent Night, Deadly Night. I certainly don't hate it. I definitely kind of like the concept. I know it's kind of like a run-of-the-mill type of story, but I do genuinely kind of like the story, which is this little boy Billy and his family, his parents and his younger brother, are going to see his grandpa, who's in like a nursing home or whatever. So he's like really young. He's like, I don't know, like 6 or something or 7. So he's like little at the beginning of the movie. So they go see the grandpa. Grandpa's, sit there not saying anything, and then, like, when the parents leave, the grandpa kind of turns to little Billy and is, like, kind of scaring the crap out of him, like, oh, all this can happen on Christmas, and Santa this and Santa that, you run from Santa, just almost kind of, like, giving the kid a warning, almost like the grandpa knew something was up, something was going to happen, and trying to give a warning to the little kid, but he just ends up like creeping him out. Honestly, I think if I was that little kid, I'd probably be pooping my pants and being scared. You know, um, he scares the little kid, and like the family leaves. They're driving back, and meantime, we are introduced to this like Santa Claus, this guy who dresses up as Santa, who works as Santa or whatever, and pretty much like kills a store clerk or whatever to get his free bottle of booze or whatever, pack of smokes or something. And then the family ends up like running into this guy because they see like he's got a broken down car, supposedly broken down car. Um, and it's actually set up, he just ends up killing like the parents and stuff, almost rapes the mom. And like the little baby's like in the car crying, and Billy ends up like kind of escaping the car just to like try and be safe or whatever. So parents get killed and stuff. The two little boys survive and everything. And it fast forwards to a few years later, in a like little orphanage where we see Billy and his little brother there because obviously they don't have parents. Probably assuming that it's the run-of-the-mill horror situation where it's like there's no other like next of kin except for the grandfather, and grandfather's obviously not suited to take care of these boys, take these boys in or anything. So in this orphanage, we see like the kid kind of like lashing out a little bit, Billy lashing out a little bit, understandably kind of lashing out and like drawing disturbing pictures and stuff. Because it's a traumatic thing. First off, you lose your parents, but on top of that, you see your parents get killed and your mom almost getting raped before she gets killed. Like that'll, like I'm 32. If I saw that happen to my parents, I would be pretty effed up at my age. Sorry, I'm trying to sort of like kind of watch my language a little bit because my nephew watches my channel a lot and he's like 8. So I'm trying not to like use curse words as much because plus two, he does his own little channel, so I don't want him to like do these channels and just be like swearing up a storm. I don't think he would, but I'm trying to be a responsible aunt. Anyway, back to Silent Night, Deadly Night. So, he's in this orphanage, and of course, like the one nun, like the head nun, mother superior, whatever, a little, she's a little mean. I think that like very stereotypical, sort of like nun that you would always hear about people talk about, like, oh, that one nun was always like, or like the nuns are always so mean and so strict. So we see that. And something though that I do take from this movie that I kind of see quite a bit, and I don't think anyone really ever realizes I'm referencing this movie, especially like if I'm at work. If someone does like, something incorrectly, just like kind of slips their mind and does, or, messes something up, jokingly, I'm like, oh, naughty, naughty. I love saying that. I don't know why. I like saying that. Naughty, naughty. Um, so it's little things about this movie I like. Whatevs, whatevs. And then, so, we kind of see him in the orphanage for a little bit, and then fast forwards to him being 18. No one still has adopted him, but he's kind of like at that age where he's legally an adult. So, like the orphanage tells him like, okay, well, you gotta find a job. They set up a job for him and everything at a little like, little sort of like small little toy store where, he's just trying to like learn to like be an adult and everything, and that, he's gotta, you know, start like moving on and like moving out of the orphanage and stuff, but helping him to try and like at least get something to set up and save a little bit of money and stuff while he kind of like sort of stays at the orphanage, but like not in the building itself because that'd be kind of weird. Whatevs. So he's a little awkward and stuff, but he's kind of making his little effort and everything, and just kind of like trying to fit in, slowly kind of finding himself sort of fitting in and stuff, and making starting to sort of make like social relationships and everything with his coworkers, trying to just be a normal citizen of society and stuff. So everything's kind of going okay and everything. A little hiccup here and there, just because once again he's trying to learn what it's socially acceptable to be with in the outside world. And then like Christmas comes, and he comes out from like the back room or something, and there's a guy dressed as Santa, and that obviously is bringing back some memories, triggering some stuff for him. Not good memories, obviously, because obviously for him it's seeing a Santa around Christmas is just not going to be a good thing. Understandably. And of course, these people who he works for or works with, his bosses and stuff, his coworkers, they have no idea what happened. They have no idea that this would be an issue for him. They just think, whatever, it's normal. Deal with it. It's Santa. You're supposed to see a Santa. So, and then, at the, sorry, I was like looking up, I'm trying to think, I'm not trying to be weird. So they, have this little like, Christmas party and stuff, and actually something had happened to the guy who, was being like Santa or something, like he quit or something, or he died. I don't know. Something happened where it ended up where Billy had to kind of stand in as substitute for being Santa, still not knowing his history with Christmas and Santa Clauses and stuff. That's really difficult for me. I just want to be like, well, I don't want to do it because, this or whatever. He wants, I feel like he wants to try to be somewhat normal, have a normal life, move on from this the best way he can. So he's dressed up as Santa and stuff, and then like they have this Christmas party, and he's still got like the Santa suit on, and one of the guys who worked in like the stock room with him for a little bit before he went out to like the sales floor, became Santa or whatever, took one of the female co-workers to the back, this one girl that Billy kind of you could tell he had, a little fondness for, maybe developed a little bit of a crush, but wasn't sure how to approach the situation because, he never really learned any of that stuff. He didn't go through the motions of liking someone and asking someone out like most of us normally do. So they're in back, and this guy is trying to like force himself onto this girl, like rips open her blouse, is trying to like have his way with her, basically almost like raping her. And Billy is kind of like just behind the door, kind of like peeking in, seeing this happening, and that's again, bringing back these memories of what happened to his parents, what happened to his mom, and that's when he just kind of snaps, basically. Rightfully so. I mean, I'm kind of on Billy's side about this because, it's triggering stuff for him. Not saying that he should go out and kill people in revenge, but whatevs. So he ends up, like, going in, thinking he's doing the right thing by, like, attacking this guy, and ends up, like, killing him. And the girl, instead of, like, being grateful, I think, like a normal person, she's like, what the F? You just killed him. Like, you're a sicko. And just like, she's like, stay away from me. And then, with that rejection, he almost kind of doesn't understand, like, why wouldn't you be grateful? Like, I just saved your life and you're telling me to stay away from you. He gets upset and ends up killing her too. So he then ends up like killing everyone else that's in the store at this Christmas party and everything. And one of the nuns shows up and sees all this like carnage and everything, sees all these dead bodies, and instantly knows like, oh god, it's Billy. Billy killed all these people. So then it's kind of like on the search of, finding Billy. He's going around killing people, like, asking them, have you been naughty? Have you been naughty? And, very, very 80s like that, where it's like, anyone who's been bad is gonna get killed, you just know it. Like, there's the two teenagers in the house who are making out and everything, about to do it and stuff, and, like, this one girl's little sister's, like, upstairs, is about to come down and just like, no, go upstairs, blah, 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 we're doing homework. Which basically wants to, like, be alone with a boyfriend to, like, screw around. What else? And she actually got, killed, I like that girl's, kill, though, because, Billy picks her up and literally, kills her by placing her on, like, the deer head or whatever, on, like, the antlers or whatever. I know that's been kind of done, like, a million times. There's a million different versions of that, but I feel like that was, like, one of, like, the earlier kills like that, and it's one of the earlier forms, so I do like that. Whenever I watch, like, an older movie like that, even if I've seen a kill like that a million times before that, especially if it's, like, movies, like, after a certain movie or, like, years after, I always kind of take that into consideration, like, oh wow, that was, like, maybe one of the first ones, and I know there was probably similar ones previous to this, so I know it's probably not the first movie to ever utilize a kill like that, but, but yeah, so it's basically, he's just going around, killing all these kids, and, the nuns called the cops, being like, hey, this guy's going around, we know who's killing him, we're pretty sure he's dressed up like Santa, and eventually they get to him, because he actually ends up making his way back to, the orphanage, where, like, he basically grew up in, and, is about to kill kill Mother Superior or whatever, the head nun, just as he, like, lifts the axe, you hear, like, gunshots and get him in the back, and, he ends up falling to the floor and, eventually dying. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's really not, like, that bad of a movie. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. Like, I would say, probably on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being, like, the favorite, I would have to place this at maybe, like, 4 for me. I'm really not going to knock it, because I know that this is a movie, this first one especially, is really a movie that's very beloved by a lot of, people in the horror community, so I'm not gonna knock it. You know, like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I totally get where. And that's the thing. I see where people really enjoy this movie, really hold this one near and dear to their hearts. So, like I said, I'm not gonna knock this, even though I'm not like the biggest fan. You guys know I'm not like that. If I don't like a movie, I just don't like it. But I get that other people like it. And I respect that. I respect if you guys like it. You know, I know a couple people on my Black Christmas video yesterday were saying like, you know, how they also enjoy this movie, this Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. So like once again, you know, I know there's a lot of you who do like it out there. Not gonna knock it. Um, in this movie, when it was first released, like I said, this was back in 1984. Um, it I know it was in theaters for a very short time before it was pulled because a couple of mothers. I'm gonna, and by the way, this next little part, I'm gonna go into a little bit, but I think I might end up doing like a separate video kind of like on this topic. I just want to like kind of touch on it now just because it goes along with the movie. Um, so yeah, probably down in the future, in the near future, hopefully I'll expand more on this. But yeah, so shortly after this was released, it was pulled pretty quickly. I think after only a few weeks or something, or maybe a month. I think so, like very shortly afterwards, because a couple of mothers, a couple of parents got so like up in arms about this movie because you know their kids had seen it in a commercial or saw the commercial, and the kids are like, "Oh my God, Santa's going around killing people!" So these parents got all up in arms, threw a little hissy fit because they're don't want to take the responsibility to explain a movie trailer. So they kept calling like TriStar and stuff in different, I guess, different theaters, being like, you should pull this. This is unacceptable. Like, how dare you put this, you know, TV ad out and stuff promoting this killer Santa. So I guess TriStar, I think, released this initially. I know this is an Anchor Bay release that I have, but I think initially, I think TriStar. Primark, one of those, had initially released this movie, and so you know the movie company, decided to pull it, you know, because people were complaining, um, you know, and it's that's a shame too, because it's like you know, like I know, because I know I initially heard about them pulling the movie in the documentary Going to Pieces, The Rise and Fall of slasher movies. And it's like Felissa Rose, like put it best in that documentary about this. Because Felissa Rose, for those of you who may not know, was in the first Sleepaway Camp, and then in Return to Sleepaway Camp as Angela. And you know, she was saying how she's like, you know, um, she's like, you know, it really is more about responsibility in the home. You know, it starts with, you know, like the parents and everything. Like if you see this TV ad, or like your kids by chance see this TV ad and are like, what? Like you need to explain this to them of like, you know, what they're watching, what this commercial is about, you know, and just explain like, you know, it's pretend, it's a fake movie, it's a movie, it's not real. I mean, I would even say, you know, go as far as like if this was released today and there was an outrage, I'd be like, dude, just tell your kids that it's like it's not really Santa. It's someone um, trying to pretend to be Santa doing these bad things. Like it's not really Santa. Like especially if like your kids are still into Santa, still believe in Santa and stuff. Um, and because I know like the segment that they kind of show like some of the news footage that they showed of these parents, they're saying like, oh well, you know, to kids there's only one Santa. It's like, no, you need, you know, once again, like agreeing with Felissa Rose, like no, you need to be a parent and explain to your kid what they just saw. Like first off, why are you watching a station with your kids that would show a, a horror movie trailer? You know, like, and I know like back then TV was much different how it is now. Like you didn't have all those like necessarily like kid friendly only channels and stuff like Nickelodeon, Disney Channel and stuff. But it's still, it's like, you know what, you should really kind of just discuss to your kid what it's about. Um, so anyway, like I said, I just wanted to kind of like throw that out there about the little like controversy with this movie. And like I said, I'll probably do a separate video on that. Hopefully, sometime in the near future, just kind of like giving my more thoughts about parents and like explaining what they might see on like TV and stuff. Um, but so anyway, with that being said, let me just put a little 2 cents in about part two. I won't hopefully talk too much about it. So part two basically follows Billy's younger brother, who is now all grown up. And like I have to say, like I've only seen the second one. I haven't seen anything beyond the second one. I know there's a few other Silent Night, Deadly Nights. I've heard that they're all like really bad. Like they're all like crappy. That's what I've heard. I've not seen any of them, like I said, so I don't know. I'm assuming that's kind of true. They look pretty truncated, whatever. So, so the second one, like I really like as much as I'm not that much a fan of the first one. Part two, what a piece of shit. As I literally just said at the beginning of this video, I'm trying not to swear as much. I say piece of shit twice. Um, Peyton, don't repeat any swear words your Auntie Jenna says. Sorry, once again, I gotta be the aunt. But like the second one, like talk about like just a huge cop out because literally like the first 45 minutes or something, close to an hour of this movie, is literally all flashbacks. It's basically his little brother just kind of like retelling what happened in the first one, a bunch of flashbacks, and it's like, really? Really? Like, did you guys just have like 20 minutes of a script and you're like, we don't know what else to do? Like, it almost reminds me a little bit of, like, I don't know how many of you guys are aware of the, like, the Unfinished Sleepaway Camp movie, the technically the real fourth movie, because, like, I know there's Sleepaway Camp 1, 2, 3, and then Return to Sleepaway Camp, so there's, like, 4 complete movies. So there is a fourth one, like The Survivor or something, which was never completed. They barely shot anything, because the company at the time, ended up going like bankrupt, so all the projects got canceled. So they're really, it's like 10 minutes of like actual footage that was filmed, and then all of it, the rest was kind of, like flashbacks and stuff. Like that, as much as that's like a really crappy movie, I kind of forgive it a little bit because it wasn't a finished movie. Like just they wanted to give something to the fans, to us fans about for the movie or whatever. So something like that I can kind of forgive because, like I said, it's given the circumstances, the company literally shut down, and filming stopped like within the first couple of days or something, a couple of weeks. But, like, this has no excuse. Part 2 has no excuse. It's like, were you guys just lazy? Like, that's what I feel like. It's a lazy sequel. I mean, and I'm all for, like, a little bit of, like, flashbacks or a little bit of retelling or something. A lot of movies do that, but total cop-out. Very lazy cop-out. So, and like I said, I've heard... Like, I don't think all the sequels are like that, where it's, like, majority of the movie is, like, retellings or anything, but, like I said, I know, from what I heard, all the rest of the sequels are, like, really bad. Almost all of them have almost nothing to do with the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. So, I don't know, just, like I said, I just wanted to give my little 2 cents in about, the second one there for you. But yeah, so there's my little take. Silent Night, Deadly Night, like I said, not my favorite by any means. I mean, I watch it once in a great while. But yeah, for those of you who do, enjoy this movie, I see why. I definitely see why. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna bash this movie just because I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like I said, I definitely see why people like it. Just not my favoriteest. So, but let me know, what do you guys think of this movie? Let me know if you've seen any of the sequels, what you thought of the sequels. And maybe, I mean, if you guys would want, if I could find like the rest of the sequels somewhere on like, because honestly, I'm not gonna buy them unless if I get them like in a horror pack or something. I'm really not gonna actively buy these because they suck. But I'll see if I can maybe find them on like Netflix or something, or Shudder, or Screambox, or something, or Fright Picks. Um, if you guys want, I'll definitely see if I can check out the sequels. Maybe I'll give my opinion on them. But let me know if you guys want me to. If not, I'm really not going to plan on doing reviews on the sequel. So, but anyway, thank you guys for letting me take this opportunity to discuss another Christmas-themed horror movie. And then, as always, please, you guys, subscribe, like, and maybe drop me a little line. Once again, thanks, you guys, and you guys have a great rest of your night. And as always, stay classy and creepy.